Welcome to Arc 2, Chapter 9. If you enjoy the story, please like and subscribe. The 8 were finished. No bodies left. Only black ash floating in the air. Ollie waited for the reward, but the system bled into warning red. Extra objective, kill the boss. Ollie froze. He didn't curse. He didn't move. He just gripped the system's daggers tighter. He realized then, the task doesn't end when the number hits 8. It ends only when the system says so. The ground trembled before he even saw it. Then, from the shadows, a mountain of muscle and iron stepped out. The air grew heavy, smelling of old blood and rust. Yellow eyes burning with rage locked onto him. Ollie looked at the giant blade, big enough to cleave a boulder in two, then at the small daggers in his grip. To the world, this was an execution, not a duel. But Ollie didn't tremble. He analyzed the threat. One mistake wouldn't just mean death. It would mean the pain starts all over again. Ollie dodged the blade with unnatural speed, the steel tearing through the stagnant air, leaving nothing but a wave of dust. The boss's blade swung again. It moved with the force of a collapsing wall. The ground shattered where Ollie stood a fraction of a second ago, but he was already gone. He moved faster than fear. Zero distance. Before the beast could recover, Ollie drove his dagger deep into the massive shoulder. The monster roared, not in pain, but in insult. It swung again. This time, Ollie didn't dodge. He planted his feet. Metal screamed against metal. The impact sent a shockwave through his skeleton. The ground cracked beneath his boots. Strength, 15. For the first time, he felt the real weight of those numbers. Realizing its prey wouldn't break, the monster unleashed a storm. A chaotic whirlwind of steel, turning the air itself into a weapon designed to shred flesh from bone. Death passed inches above his scalp. Ollie dropped into the abyss of his own focus, dancing on the razor's edge between survival and oblivion. The force of the wind threw him back. He hit the wall, cornered. The beast struck to kill. The killing blow descended. Crash. But fate intervened. The rusty blade missed its mark and buried itself deep into the cavern wall. The beast abandoned its steel. It didn't need a weapon. It stepped forward, fists clenched with the force of a hydraulic press, eager to crush the life out of him. The fist impact like a cannonball pulverized his midsection. Ribs snapped instantly. The air was violently forced from his lungs. Mercy was not an option. A brutal hook connected with his skull. Blood painted a crimson arc in the air. His vision fractured into a kaleidoscope of darkness. He hit the dirt, broken. The void called his name. But through the haze, his trembling hand didn't surrender. It clawed through the dust, seeking his blade. Defying the laws of physiology, he rose from the grave. Blood dripping from his face, he looked at the beast not with fear, but with the cold stare of a predator. One last gamble. A suicide charge straight into the jaws of death. He launched himself, abandoning all defense for one final strike. He crashed into the beast. He didn't stop until the hilts hit the bone. Time seemed to freeze. A new notification flashed. Fire core. Unlocked. For the first time, Ollie realized he could use magic. It wasn't a skill. It was the physical manifestation of his rage. He screamed, "Fire! Fire!" The explosion erupted inside the boss, consuming the beast from within. The smoke cleared. The roar faded. Only silence and ash remained. The red warning screen flickered and stabilized back to blue. Task complete. Strength +1. Defense +1. He stared at the small numbers. It wasn't a fortune. It wasn't glory. But for Ollie, it was just enough to survive one more day. The beast fell. Ollie waited for the usual ash. But the system interrupted him. A blue window flashed clearly, Boss Heart. He didn't have to guess. The system spelled it out. And then, the black, wet organ rose to meet his hand. He held the Boss Heart. The command was simple, but terrifying. Consume. The system wasn't asking him to collect an item. It was ordering him to eat. It was warm, slick with black ichor that smelled of sulfur and rot. It didn't feel like a reward. It felt like a curse. Every instinct in his body screamed at him to throw it away. He forced it down. He gagged violently, his stomach convulsing as he wiped the black blood from his trembling lips. He felt sick, less human. But the system simply blinked. Next task. Consume cores. 8. The moment the heart vanished, the cave screamed. The ground convulsed violently beneath his feet. Dust choked the air. Massive rocks crashed around him. Ollie looked up and realized the truth. The gate was dying. The exit was sealing shut. He didn't have time to breathe. He had to run. Outside, the raid team watched in confusion. The massive green gate began to flicker and shrink. The energy reading plummeted. "The boss is dead," one of them shouted. "The gate is closing." They checked their logs. No high-level squad was inside. So who or what killed it? Just before the light vanished completely, a figure stumbled out. He was soaked in black blood. His clothes were shredded. Silence fell over the crowd. A hunter stepped forward, voice trembling. "Who killed the boss?" Ollie didn't answer. He didn't care about their questions. He walked past them, eyes empty. He survived the hell. And that was the only stat that mattered. Ollie dragged himself into the shadows of a quiet alley. He wasn't done yet. The system kept its promise. One by one, the cores of the monsters he killed manifested in his hand. He forced himself to swallow the spheres. He thought he was alone. He was wrong. From the rooftop above, a shadow watched. A cold voice whispered into the night. "No, always injured, but no bodies left behind." Interesting. Ollie swallowed the final core. He leaned against the cold wall, waiting for the pain to fade. The system finally gave him the reward. Strength increased to 17. Defense increased to 17. The task was finally over. He closed his eyes. Just 1 minute of peace. But the system didn't know the word rest. A new window flickered next to his exhausted body. It wasn't a reward. It was a new task. Run 40,000 meters. Ollie stared at the number. The nightmare hadn't ended. He didn't ask how. He just moved. One step after another. For hours. His lungs burned like fire. His legs felt like lead. Finally, the counter hit the limit. 40,000 out of 40,000. He waited for the reward. He waited for the end. But the screen bled into a warning red. Extra objective, dodge test. Condition, no injury. Ollie realized the horror. The running wasn't the finish line. It was just the warm-up. He stepped into the new gate. The air smelled of wet earth and rot. A graveyard. The test didn't wait for him to settle. A rusted blade swung for his neck. Ollie didn't block. The rule was clear, no injury. He twisted his body, letting the steel miss him by a fraction of an inch. Dodge, 2 out of 20. 18 more to go. But it wasn't just one enemy. They rose from the dirt. Spears and swords came from every direction. He couldn't dodge them all in the open. He threw himself behind a tombstone. The stone took the blow meant for his skull. Debris flew, but his skin remained untouched. Dodge, 6 out of 20. The tombstone crumbled to dust. Staying still meant death. He had to keep moving. Ollie turned the graveyard into an obstacle course, weaving through the fog, ducking under the thrusts. He wasn't just reacting anymore. He was predicting. Dodge, 10 out of 20. Halfway through hell. They trapped him in. Nowhere to run. Nowhere to hide. A sword aimed for his chest. A spear for his back. He didn't panic. He didn't blink. He moved through the gap like smoke. Dodge, 15 out of 20. 5 more to end. 19 down. 1 to go. The final guardian lunged. Ollie didn't retreat. He watched the blade's path. He shifted his weight at the last millisecond. The sword slashed empty air. Dodge, 20 out of 20. 0 injuries. The task was complete, then Ollie went out of the gate. Then, the system rewarded his suffering. Speed increased to 12. Evasion increased to 11. He started this night broken and slow. He ended it. He was back in the silence of a safe room. He thought the torture was over. But the system demanded more. Task, mana control. Goal, 240 seconds. It sounded simple. But for someone with mana 7, holding this raw energy wasn't like holding a ball. It was like holding a live grenade. For minutes felt like 4 hours. Sweat poured down his face. Finally, the timer hit the limit. 240 out of 240. He dropped his hand, waiting for the reward. But the blue screen flickered again. It wasn't done. Extra objective. Make mana blade. Ollie stared at the fading light in his palm. The system didn't just want him to hold the power. It wanted him to sharpen it. He forced the energy to change shape. He imagined a dagger. At 8 seconds, it looked solid. Sharp. He thought he had it. But at 12 seconds, the energy rebelled. Sparks flew. The blade vibrated violently. His low mana couldn't hold the structure. It wasn't a weapon anymore. It was a bomb about to explode in his face. The vibration became a scream. He couldn't hold the shape. The energy shattered, blasting him with raw power. Mana blade failed. He gasped, his hands burning. He expected a penalty, but the system did something worse. It just reset the clock. 0 out of 30 seconds. Do it again. He didn't sleep. The explosion was just a lesson. He started again. 0 to 30. The night faded. The sun rose. In the last minutes at 7:55 a.m., his hands were shaking, but his will was iron. 18 seconds, 20, 30 seconds. The blade didn't shatter this time. It hummed silently in his grip. He didn't just shape the mana. He conquered it. The mana blade stabilized. The test was over. The system flashed the standard reward, mana +1. Resistance +1. Ollie expected the screen to fade, just like always. But for the first time, it didn't. Because for the first time, he didn't just survive. He completed every single hidden objective. A new gold text appeared, cycle clear bonus. All stats +5. He was becoming stronger, but Ollie didn't care about the power. His eyes dropped to the bottom line. Rest mode, 168 hours. No nightmares. He froze. For months, sleep was just another battlefield. But tonight, the war was paused. For the first time, he just closed his eyes and found peace. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe. And if you have any feedback, leave a comment below.